getting ready for the next portion of our presentation, which is an AMA with Fabio Canesin and Nathaniel Walpole. Give me a hand. Okay, so we opened up our Reddit boards a couple of days ago that people all over the globe could ask us some questions. So, Nathaniel Cook wants to know, when will the exchange launch? And also, he has a few additional questions. And how soon can we expect the next mobile wallet and exchange interface? Will KYC be required to stake dividends? And when can we purchase merchandise?
So 4 questions, actually. The first question is when the exchange launches. As I said in the presentation, it's launching when it's ready. So we will not compromise on security or issues to reach a date. But the development is very good. And in Q4, we're doing deployment tests. So it could be that we launch on Q4, if everything goes well. That will be the earliest. But I would say that it's when it's ready. The second question was regarding mobile wallet and exchange interface. So these are actually 2 questions in one also. So, the first question, mobile wallet, our goal is Q1. So mobile wallet is quite important for the payment solutions. It is a way that people interact when paying. So we're going to launch this early, Q1. The idea here is that the exchange comes after the payment. So wallet Q1 and later the exchange interfaces. The exchange interface itself in mobile, we hope to learn a lot from the usage on the exchange on web. So our goal is Q2 or half of the 2019. But people will be able to hold their tokens before that. The third question was regarding...
was the KYC for staking?
Yeah, KYC for staking. So this is also, we told on the presentation, but yes, KYC will be required for staking. And the last question was the merchandise question. So when they will be able to acquire the merchandise question. So merchandise is going to be a way that we showcase the payments APIs. So NEX is going to launch a store using the payment solutions. So we're going to launch this after the payment solutions are live. And as we said, the payment solution testing is in Q4. So we launched the merchandising in Q1 of 2019.
All right, thank you. Is anyone from the audience? Just raise your hand. We got a couple of people here with microphones who will be coming to your chair to rush. Claire? You got no friend? Could you raise your hand for great? Over there. All right, it's all yours, dude.
Hi. So I was wondering, after I read that NEX is busy with a banking license, if soon I will be able to have a NEX bank card, so I can pay with my NEX or with NEO or gas in stores.
So this is actually not one of the reflect of the other. So you do not need a banking license to be able to pay with tokens. So this is more of the payment services, and the store accepting the payment service solution. So the other way around would be you pay actually in fiat, but this fiat comes from your funds in tokens. So for doing that, you would need to do a transaction between tokens and fiat. There's 2 ways to do that. There's ways to do that to fiat on and off ramps. So these are partners in selected regions. And there's a way of doing this through fiat markets on the exchange. So this is when you look at the exchange, there's a market, BTC, dollar. This is a way. So again, 3 different questions. Payment solutions, direct crypto, Q4, that's our goal. Fiat on and off ramps together with the exchange launch. So this as soon as the exchange launch. The fiat markets is where then we would need a banking license. I'm not sure exactly the format of the banking license. As you guys know, Fabio is our Chief Compliance Officer. But this is going to be later because of legal constraints. But if you go to the store, you'll be able to achieve the same goals using these two other solutions.
Okay, thank you.
All right, like we said, cool questions, got the cool stuff. All right, we have another Reddit question from a Reddit called Edgegasm. He was very excited to hear that NEX is going to be transitioning to a decentralized matching engine. It addresses some of his core concerns that he had about the platform. I'm going to keep hitting you with multiple part questions. He'd be interested to know more details about this, such as how distributed will this network be in an estimated number of nodes? Which consensus protocols are the NEX team considering, and how will this be incentivized?
Right, so many questions in one also. So first, I am surprised that people feel that it's new that we are decentralized the matching engine. We have been talking this like forever, so whoever chats with us in Discord, Slack, whatever, has been able to know that. But I understand that this didn't fall through on the communications. But yes, we are going after. How decentralized it will be, so initially our plan is to have 5 matching engines. So there's 5 ghost systems working on this network. And the reason is because we have 5 founders. So it's nothing sophisticated technically, it's just because this way the whole company needs to go hog. So you have an issue, like a single entity inside the company. Even I would not be able to do something bad. Which consensus protocol is going to be used, we don't know. So we are launching as a distributed system. On the distributed system, we're going to use a binary agreement. So they do checkpoints from time to time, and this checkpoint needs to be the same. So yeah, it's a true or false consensus, right? It's the simplest thing that you could do. In our team, we have people that have researched consensus protocols before. Most of our team has looked at consensus before, and we have an idea of how we bring this up to become a shard on this network, as I explained. The consensus there, we are looking for graph solutions, and most of the solutions that we like on current research, so blockchain is moving so fast, maybe we change this, but currently we are thinking about a gossip consensus. There are several gossip consensus right now, from Avalanche to Spark, so something in between. But the modification that's interesting for NEX is the ability to live inside a shard. So the whole network don't need to be spammed by millions of transactions happening in NEX. You can live a different shard, but you can validate the transactions from there.
All right, cool. Does anyone from the audience have another question? Just raise your hand and we'll send someone right over. All right, Chris, you make the pick. You have been blessed by Chris.
Thank you. Can I have 3 questions?
I just did, so you're cool.
The internet is making many.
So first question I have is, how do you manage effective communication since you are working on different time zone and different location? And the second question is, if one or more blockchains are down or congested, how will the matching engines behave? And how will the user experience will be? Mm-hmm. And the third one is, what will be your marketing plan to increase the volume of this NEX platform?
Okay, so many questions also. Right, so the first question, so let's get to the issue, the first issue. So if some blockchain has a problem from the matching engine side, this affects, so NEX is using 2 different systems. One is the matching system, the other is the settlement system. So it will affect the settlement system. And the way it will be is that there cannot be new things in the market, so people inside that market can still trade, but there will be like probably no deposits and incomes. Maybe Nathaniel has a better idea on the user experience here.
Yeah, so in terms of like the UI, with these kind of things, you always want to give the users feedback as to what's happening, basically. You know, whether they're making a trade and that's been successful, if there's something particular that's gone wrong, you always give them a feedback to sort of say, okay, this is actually what's happening. So straight up, the users know exactly what's going down. That's pretty much it, really. You make sure you're always informing the users of what's happening within the actual UI, and in layman's terms as well. So we have to kind of take this convolution down that seems to exist within the crypto space and actually distill it down into a very understandable level, because we're targeting the platform at many different types of users, from people who have never even thought about crypto before, all the way up to expert users, institutions, and merchants. So we have to always kind of make sure that the UI is reflected, depending on what user is on the platform.
Yeah, I think from the technical side, it's important to know that when a network is congested, the way that it reflects normally is it's a high price to do a transaction because you have to attach high fees. So people will know that there are high fees to deposit and withdraw, and that in itself helps to solve the issue. So the first question was regarding time zones, right? So how we communicate in the company with time zones. So we actually break down in teams. We are very fortunate to have leadership teams that are amazing. So we have 5 founders with different skills. So each is, you probably can see that in the quarterly report where we talk about the teams of each founder. So these teams we try to put on in time zones that make sense. And they have different meetings. So for example, I have a meeting with Nathaniel to update on design, and he has meetings with his team on other time zones and other things. So it's complicated, but it works. And it's amazing because in the beginning it's really hard, but after people is in the company a while, they are a lot more independent. And this is something that we really love in NEX, which is you see people by the result of their work, not because they are every day in the office. And the last question, because there's a lot of questions, was marketing for volume. Okay, so volume in itself requires users. Okay, so the first thing to acquire users is having you guys helping us to acquire users. So we have 17,000 users that if each of them bring 100 users, then we are huge. Okay, so this is at the core of NEX. And one thing is, you can only get at some level organically, and this is users bringing users. And in the blockchain space right now, there's lots of these trading competitions, there's a lot of these gimmicks, I would call, and you can see that people doing that don't have great volume. So they are spending resources from the company with no outcome on that. And we believe that actually having something which is a marketing project instead of having these eventfuls, this marketing eventfuls is much more powerful. So our marketing team is working in market projects. So you can think of this as something inside the system, like referral programs, like community. These are projects that they are developing, and this event is a part of that.
All right, cool. Okay, I got a 2-part question here, which is a design question, and me and Nathaniel love. Someone called Hypothetical Identity says, you've suggested a world-class UI. How are you going to achieve that?
Yeah, great question. Really good question. So at NEX, the user is always the focal point for what we do, because if you don't sort of consider what the user needs, you effectively produce like a pointless product, basically. So right from the very start, we do a lot of user research. We actually talk to people. We find out people's goals, their tasks that they want to undertake within the system, and any sort of like pain points that they've had within existing systems. And then from that, we actually start to kind of put together prototypes, which we test with people to make sure that we're hitting these needs. And then from that, we kind of keep iterating and iterating. So if there's one particular part they have an issue with, we find out why they're having an issue with it, and we iterate on that sort of design, ensuring that we're always kind of producing the best possible outcome for our users. And then after that, we've got a great sort of world-class team of designers who have the ability to effectively distill down very complex sort of systems and ideas into something that's really user-friendly. So that's pretty much how we're going to kind of lead, hopefully, with the sort of the design that we're putting out there.
Yeah, I think it comes to the core of NEX, which is people.
Yeah,
both
100%.
Both users and inside the company.
All right, great. Now for the second part of that, what kind of expectations do you have for the volume when the exchange launches? Because we want that stake money.
What kind of expectations we have for the volume? So our goal is launching to be top 100. So launching is this first quarter thing. So as top 100 is today about 1.6 million daily, but we don't know what would be on when we are. So this is another thing that's important, is not a target, but relative to the market, because volume varies a lot as the market is down and up. So we need to look between the peers. So our goal is launching, be top 100. After the first quarter, to be top 50. So this is the period where we talked about organic growth. So after the first quarter, now we have many developments. We have the payments developments. We have all the things that bring together that, from mobile development and so on. Now we are in a much better position where we start our marketing projects that I just talked on the answer before. So after Q1, we have all this base that we can do the market projects to try to go forward from top 50 to lead the market.
All right, cool. Does anyone from the audience have another question? Maybe raise up your hand. Whoa, okay, easy.
All of the hands.
Everyone getting free stuff. Like, oh yeah. When exchange.
Hi. I had a question about the like Twitter you made, the platform. How do you plan to secure it? Because the staking of one NEX will only mean that someone who wants to put in like false news or a scam would only need to be able to make two NEX to be profitable in spreading false news on the platform. And why do you use this instead of Telegram, which we all know is like full of scammers? And you wanted an own platform, so I'm wondering how you're going to secure it.
The NEX community, you say?
Yes.
So the platform is actively managed by us. So if someone goes there and put some bad news, he just acquires NEX to have his posted detail. Okay.
But then already the bad things could have happened already.
I would say no, because you should not trust some random people post something.
Yeah, but this is what's happening already in the space.
Exactly. So that's why we launched the platform, because there will be a place where we will reply that. So if someone posts something like that, wait for next reply, because in this platform I'm gonna be replying, Claire gonna be replying, Nate we're gonna be replying. So wait for our reply. If your reply is not there, maybe we're gonna mod it and delete it. So there's no reason for people to trust that.
Okay. Don't you think there should be like a penalty for because I think this is what is missing in this self-regulation of blockchain, is that it's always more profitable to scam than, because there's no like penalty for like this. What you see on Twitter, send me half Ether and I will send you 100 Ether back. If it would cost them like 200 Ether to put this scam on, if they were found out, probably this would happen way less. So maybe that's...
So the question was if there should be a punishment for this kind of behavior.
Yes,
I agree. Okay, so this is engineering, right? So we just deliver a platform where you can only access if you have NEX and so on. So it's already one step forward. But as we go here, we have other ideas. For example, if you are staking NEX, you can then post it, not just having one NEX. You understand? You have to actually lock it, and then you'll be able to do this. So there are many ideas that we have to do this, and it's hard for us to tell if we're launching the platform today. So let's see how this goes, and we're gonna mod. But the thing is, we're gonna actively mod it. So right now, people don't have a place where they can get the right information. They start in many Telegram channels. There's not just one. There's many Telegram channels there's Reddit and so on. So it's hard to control the information. And now you have a source of truth. Okay, so you see the people replying there if we reply, and if there is an issue there, yeah, we're gonna actually mod it, maybe lock it and implement a solution. But yeah, we're gonna be taking care.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. When will the next token get listed on exchanges?
Good question. So it's important here that when the next token gets listed on exchange does not only depend on us, right? So since day one of NEX project, we have always said that NEX is a security. Our goal is that we are not aiming for value of a speculation, but we are aiming for people to stake it. Of course, if people think this is going to be a good investment and they want to trade and flip the coin, it's their decision, it's their economical decision, they are in charge of the outcomes of this, right? So NEX, as the company, will not spend resources, people resources, and financial resources to list in any platform, okay? So if one platform wants to list us, they can list us. We are a blockchain thing. NEX talks only with people that have the proper licenses to list a security token. The people pursuing this currently don't have their platforms online. And the way we talk this is not agreeing to pay $1 million listing fees. The way we're talking is, okay, so you guys gonna issue a security, we list your security, you list ours. So it's a cross-listing solution. We are not policy of the internet. We cannot guarantee that everyone is acting according to the law. So we're only gonna approach the projects that are pursuing the licenses and have the legal background to do so.
All right, thank you. Whoa, Jesus. Take your pick, guys. Come on, it's all Chris. You got to appeal to that guy with the glasses over there.
Hello. I have a question regarding the update of the network. You're going to be, in my imagination, you're going to be a global network with matching engines, and you have big plans. How is the update, since it's still software, there are going to be faults in it? How are the updates maintained, and who is that a central place where it, or is it like open source, or how does that work?
Mm-hmm. So the way it operates is that each one of these do not communicate to each other. So for this to work, the message that gets to the blockchains needs to be the same. So you think here, people is putting orders, things are happening in the blockchains, but the answer that gets out of NEX should be the same. So this is what we call determinism. So each matching engine is deterministic, okay? So what we can do is we can have a formal specification of how this determinism should look like, and we can verify the determinism is there. So if they have a bug, all will have the same bug. So when we update it, we should update all of them the same way. So the way we are planning to update is we deploy through the gateway, so all the orders come in a gateway, which is the website that you use, right? They communicate to this gateway, so the APIs are somewhere, right? So we deploy a multi-signet, like the matching engines have a signature, so we deploy a blob which is signed by the same keys, and the matching engines receive this, so they can update deterministically. The idea is that they will wait for some height on the blockchain, and they will change on the fly. So we are using a language that's called Elixir. Elixir is built on top of Erlang. Erlang has a feature which is called hot code reloading. So our idea is that the exchange itself will update its code when some event internal to the system happens. So you don't need to reboot it and so on. So this is something that we can only do because we are using this platform.
All right. We got a question from Harry Instant. It says, what is the current status of your DEX platform? Is the team planning to launch a web-only or plugin versions with this on day one? And what are the plans to integrate with a hardware wallet, like a Ledger or a Trezor?
Right. So I think this from the back end side and business side, I reply more. Maybe Nathaniel can give an update on how accounts gonna look like and how the exchange is gonna look like.
Yeah, so we've been working really hard on the exchange amongst the other parts of the platform, because obviously we're not just a DEX, basically. For launch, we'll have a fully responsive version, basically, so you will be able to kind of go on your mobile, you'll be able to access it from tablet, desktop, wherever you need to be. And then the mobile app will come like very soon after. We've kind of just hired 2 very talented designers for that. And yeah, that's pretty much the update from the actual extension, the exchange side. We kind of did a lot of rigorous testing. There's other parts of the platform as well that have to be sort of tested and designed up. We're pretty much there. And then the actual sign-up is quite an interesting new way. So I won't go too much into it. I'll let sort of Fabio take the technical side of this, but it's a very familiar process. So you won't have to kind of worry too much about how to sign up. It'll handhold you through through the actual process, and you'll understand how to kind of log in with the exchange. So it's basically going to be like an email password approach.
Yeah, this is something we learned a lot from the exchange. Extension.
Yeah.
We saw people having issues with encrypted keys and not understanding username and password being local to the extension. They would go to another computer and try to use the same username and password, not access it because it was not local, not understand. So there's a lot of pain that went through that, and we learned it. And one thing is, we come to this solution that Nathaniel was saying that is quite familiar, but is a lot of tech behind it. But to be able to do that, we need some kind of key generation that's not supported by hard wallets. At least not supported today. So we cannot support Ledger or Trezor today because they don't have the support for this kind of key generation that we do.
All right. All right, guys, we're almost done, so we only got a couple audience more questions left. So raise your hand way up high. Claire's not too big, so not too high.
Well, I don't have a real technical question today. But by being here, I mean, I already having NEX coins. What if I buy more at OTC? Am I still allowed to stake?
So the question was, if you buy OTC, are you still allowed to stake? Yes. But for staking, you need to do KYC. So if you pass the staking KYC, you can stake your coins.
Thank you.
Short but sweet. Nice. All right. Claire, Chris? Whoa. Jesus, I'm not the one. I love the enthusiasm. It's really great. You can all talk to him after.
I was just wondering, what kind of criteria are you looking for when deciding to list a new coin?
What kind of?
Just when you're adding new coins to the, or new tokens to the exchange, like what are things you're looking for in those tokens?
Okay, so what we are looking for when we put tokens on the, so there's, let's break this into 2 things also, because there's tokens which live inside a network, and there are tokens which are native to a network. So adding native tokens is much more complicated than adding tokens for networks that we already support. Okay, so for example, we are researching to add EOS right now. So to add EOS, we actually need to develop the settlement, the monitoring, all these things for EOS also. So this is much bigger endeavor, and we'll put a lot of more training, Alex and Nate and so on, than just adding a token that's already in a network. So when we look to add tokens, it goes, what's the resources that we have to pull internally to the organization to do that? So if it's a completely new chain, maybe this will take a long time and require many engineers, right? And what is the kind of community that's behind it? So we want to add tokens that bring people to our platform, right? So there are tokens that are highly traded today, but they have no community, no usage. So this is mostly, let's say, speculation trading. And we want to have organic trading. So we will look at communities. Each token also, so it's a very complex question. So each token also has different legal constraints. So fiat peg tokens, one thing, security tokens, another thing, utility tokens, another thing. So these tokens also need a legal opinion about a structure. So this legal opinion is reviewed by our law team. Then the technology is reviewed by the engineering team of how complex will it be, and then we release it. So our goal is to start with only a few tokens. So we are talking here about 5 or 6 on launch day. And every month we add a little bit. So the idea is, let's say we add 2, then the next month we add 4, then we add 8. So we go in PG increasing it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next one. I think we got time for maybe 2 more or something like that.
This guy here.
Maybe you got a wolf whistle him.
Hi, I've got a question with regards to the NEX token itself. So similar to, for example, the BNB token, is there a way to incentivize, for example, traders? Let's say I would like to buy Ethereum instead of getting 1.999 Ethereum. If I use NEX, the NEX token whilst trading, I will actually get a cheaper fee and therefore get, for example, exactly 2 ETH.
No, there's no plan for that. So let's put this at the economics office, right? So when you are using a token to pay some fee, you are actually valuating that token as if it was paying that fee. So it means that fees that would go to the exchange are, so in the economics of it, is the same as the exchange is using that fee to buy that token. Okay, so why not just give the people who has the token the fees? It's a much more direct act of the same economic thing. Okay, so we do not envision people to pay with tokens. We envision them to use the tokens to receive that fee directly.
I understand, but for the people who are then actually not stakers, for them there's no benefit in actually then buying the next token, right?
There's no benefit. If they are not staking, there's no benefit for them besides the increasing value from NEX itself.
Okay, good. Thanks.
All right, guys, I'm sorry, but this is the last one. Boo. Come on, get some over on this side. We have a few on there.
I'll go to the person who's trying the hardest.
I love the guys. Look at this. Give me the mic.
Hi. I have one question about the security trading license. When it will be available? When do you expect you're going to get it? And I have another questions about some terms that were used in social media as bigger than Binance and enormous volumes. And of course, a lot of us saw the picture of Ethan standing in front of NASDAQ. So the question is, can you reveal something about partnerships?
Right. So let's go back from the end to the end. So we do have a social media policy, but that will probably be that was probably in his personal account, not NEX. And Ethan has an impressive curriculum on academia, and he was doing a presentation on the New York Times about his PhD. And what happened there is that close to the New York side, there's NASDAQ, and he took a picture. So doesn't mean that we are working with NASDAQ. He was taking that, looking at NASDAQ, he envisioned where we could be, okay? So enormous volume means enormous numbers of users, okay? So there's 2 parameters that they are correlated, but they are not the same, which is liquidity and volume. You can have great liquidity. The pricing on the exchange can be really good. The pricing you get in NEX is the same price you would get in Binance, for example, or Coinbase. that means the market is really liquid and price discovery is working. But maybe the volume is much lower. Volume actually require users. Okay, so enormous volume means lots of users. And what we do have is a plan on how to acquire many users that should reflect volume. On the other dimension, liquidity, we have talked to, we have internal partners and internal providers that do provide liquidity. Okay, so this is not volume, this is the liquidity. So when the user comes to NEX, their experience of trading, the price that they see is the true fair price of the market. If we're gonna get bigger than our competitors, I don't know. I work a lot for that. The team work a lot for that. And if you are here, maybe you believe that, right? So.
Yes.
Nice and sweet. Good one. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for your questions, either here or online. For the next half hour, we're going to have some drinks, so you can maybe ask some more questions. Maybe we got some cake left over. It's going to be a fun time. Why don't you give it up for Fabio and Nathaniel? All right, everyone. Thanks for coming. Have a great evening.